Did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
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 What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Good morning and welcome to, of course, Kerfatu. You're watching us live from our studio in Tranquil. My name is Buba Gajigo, and of course, I'm here with Ramatulai Jao, one of our reporters, and we're going to give you a live broadcast of the 59th Independence Celebration of the Gambia. Thank you very much for joining us. And we have our technical crew in Banjul at the Makati Square, where a lot of dignitaries are already present right now. We've already witnessed the arrival of the First Lady of the Republic of the Gambia, Fatmata Barbaro, and of course other dignitaries, former Vice Presidents, of course Bibi Dabo is already seated there. We're going to show you live footage as we have our technical crew on the ground, but we are actually in our studio in Tranquil. Badingol ngal tentu kale jay baki mo be kerfaatu jube ka nyentembe ndamba falale ko ala barka baki alka mol no mo nyamen natale dom pour ka independent o miyalon ko lebe kerimbi aliyalon ne Gambia kabringa independent o soto anin bite mambe sanji tan lulu anin kononto nga wale soto bi lungola ando nyimu kuleti miyalon ko abe kirimandi kan ntol ben studio kono jang bijilo bari ngane technical crew sotele mi alon ko be Banjul Makati Square dula mi alon ko Alpha Jamalo futata jele science tinting e be siri ne pourka banko president o batu mi alon ko abina pourka diamu kulu mi alon ko wolle be tata kerim banko aning nanin celebration at wolem juraroti mi alon ko ben independent o jura kan wala wolem na fan sototi tubabolo bulo kabri ngam fan soto non sanji tan lulu anin kononto ko manto oto amanke kuti mi alon ko bilem nimmin bijandung na reportal mi alon ka be kerfatu jambinketa Ramatulai Jawati na bijanne bari na technical crew be Banjul be live footage jol tandila lale mi alon ko aka bonam Banjul fengo feng mi alon ko lebe kerin jemba so la nyaato mandim fana ko sam veteran journalist o Lamin Chama be kafula mol fele jang pour ka kacha tariko do la membe dindin Gambia la independence celebration o mi alon ko wala be kering abi mbokay di jajeufal kepa ko xamne rek ya ngay setan Kerfatu jamono jini di len wax ne rek ñu ngi leena isi live programme la pour independent celebration bo xamne mu ngi xew tay xam ngeen ne téla Gambia am 59 years since ñu am independence ci tuba bi amon nañ independent in 1965 tay nak lool lañ nekk di celebrate dafa melni ñun ñu ci suñu studio bo xamne mu ngi tranquille waye suñu technical crew bi ñom ñu ngi Banjul Makati Square jamono ji fo xamne kilifa yu bari jël nañ toog nañ ba pare yu si mel ni First Lady Fatmata Barbaro yu si mel ni former Vice President ñoom Bibi Dabo gis nañ fa ak yeneen kilifa yoo xam ne ñooñu toog nañ ba pare dafa mel ni nañ leen isi lépp loo xam ne mu ngi xew Banjul pour ñu jotali leen ko comme Kerfatu nu mu ko baaxoo di defee every year rek la siya tamit defoon nañ ko waaye di siya tamit soobee yàlla nañ leen isil every detail boo xam ne xewoon na si kanam tuuti veteran journalist bi Lamin Cham ñoom moom nañu of course join si kanam tuuti na ñëw pour ñu analyse ñu isi some history si independent boo xam ne mu ngi xew tey Banjul musidɓe amin calmini kala gonɗo hettinade Kerfatu joni ni rek kala ɗon daari tamin ko live independent coverage min gonani on mo gandantuma ko hande Gambia heɓi duuɓi 58 capanɗe na wayno Gambia heɓi hande bila keɓɗen independent e tubakoɓe ha joni ko ɗum noon min goni on addande hande technical crew amen o ɓe Banjul Makati Square kono minen studio amen gonɗo tranquille ɗo min gari noon pour addankol kala ko gandantuma on jiɗa ɗum andu e o independent mo gandantuma mo waɗa kelifaɓe kewɓe jooɗima no wayno vice président ɗi gandantuma ɗi jawti nder leydi Gambia ɗo yeehi hane force leydi o ɓe fof ɓe jottima yo kelifaji mawɗi gandantuma ɓe jottima Banjul joni ni kono min gaddana ɗon kala ko gandantuma onon ɗum jiɗi andu hande e o ɗum woni independent coverage mo gandantuma mbo woni wadde momo gondumi o studio ɗo woni Ramatoulaye Diaw mo gandantuma makkone ko ɗo liggoto min kalana ɗon kulle ɗe gandantuma ɗe koɗen ndenti e kulle independent mo gandantuma hande Gambia mbo waɗa celebrate. Thank you so much. So Ramatoulaye bismillah ñemmu lungol timiyalon ko lum buñari mbalem ni ajibe Gambia independent soto wolem kam fan soto tubabol la mararo kono ngalonne ko angale tubabol le Gambia mara non andu ye mara sanjal la miyalon ko asiata bakele ni tari kolto ya sata mole nyamen bari 1965 inata independent o di mole wolem nyindi ko saying ali alfan soto kabri wo sotota kabo jawara la time wala anin sign wala kabri 1965 kada ko sign sangosan Gambia kanyin lungo jurale ngalon ne nasol be nun jele kabri ngiaja menata wato minna amanke lundi mi alon ko ata kumayande num bake aka min celebrate num bake wolem 22nd July aka wale kumayandi bake dan the independence but ni mullun neti mi alon ko akumayata bake Gambia le jamal kam mi ni ka wale nyenti ko fostil na nga independence le but the most important thing is lunne mi alon ko akumayata bake le ni nata Gambia na tariko kono ni nata Gambia mbe na sanjul be lafa ka nyame animbe mune sodo kan nyimmu kolleti mi alon ko akumayata je bake le bilungo isi mune fono mole independent celebration la koto bayring alpha dol bijele Ramatoulaye mba jaka nyamen dol bijele mi alon ko sitale ando ngal sojaro la nim policeol be yela place ol tale ko caméral batande ka nyama
baraka bake bubambe kontona bake mbela moy lal be kontona nin jiberal momo be am fet nyola nyin tembenna e be ker fatule jibe kan live mfelenti ngale studio kono mba stream kan live daminte alno ko wala mo tranquille sate kono be bursubi ton table ma fongala ko ya fanyami bi mulu kumayri baleti mi alon ko Gambia la fan soto tubabol bulo kono kulo mi alon ko na lungo sita amobi ka kafule ka ke kilente katon ko ya fanyami scientist na technical crew be Banjul le daminto yalno ko ibe footage sol kinan kam molele ando najele ko alpha kumayri balle sita nyin tembe ngola iman tara sirinje la politiko la kuola bari katon ko Gambia la kuola ngolati na be benta katon ko jena former vice president ol jejele na minister jejele mol min yalo ne ko
tolle la tending na the two vice president ol musolo mil tambita baro ya ngeje sirin nga bibi fananje sirin so this is a very important national event ni aje bibi benna ya
woto le salon ko nyimu lungal timi yano ko lun kumayare mbalon katun ko ninyin lungal ka siya Gambe kajele ko unity wala mo mbe taranyo kan aka kumaya bakele akatun ko nyin alfal nyin lungo damma nyin lu sifal damma le ke bendino ye tara sirin waya tara mo man tara politiko wala ko mira kan wala ye man tara feng mira kan naman ke Gambia la kote woto kulo mi yalo no ka kumaya ta bake annum fanan anyimu lungo leti mi yalon ne ko aka sewo nati nan momo mo Gambia dingoti
camera president of
dunkan nan ne sai
yeah but it seems like of course ala raidal milka tara nyato wolle be dunkan baye kono science intending al nya beto le la banko president of Ramatoulaye abe dunnale nyato demanding ando abe statement o dile le nyato demanding be jibiro kala le kulu mi yalon ko I wole for last year ma long follow abi mune follow this year but nga lonne ko last year ala theme ketamenti wala democracy, a recipe for peace and development. What for exactly wo ketale within this the nyin sangola mi alonko wala tambira diamuta ku jamale la bot be dunna woto le nyato mari seems like banko president futata
buba wo mu kulati mi ano ka kumayata bake woto nyato do manding be je dunela le na jibe president Adama Barrow ay mune soto Gambia dingole katun ko nyin lunga mu lung kumayare mballati modol bi je mi ano ko singol men futandino Banjul bari be siringi la bungol kono katun nyin lungo sita Alpha Jamal kela dindingol sile ike sindile ka tariko foye katun tol dol manning tarandi bari Alpha Jamal bi je mi yalon ne ko tariko yalon ne nana ta Gambia le fansoto bulo kono katun ko nimmole tariko karan mongol to nata lon ne ko comme tubabol wolle mol maranu Gambia banko kanjang bari kabo 1960 February 18 1965 Gambia ya fansoto wolngol la kabo tubabol bulo kono nanna presidential soto nanna minister soto wala muko ko sang tol fanam bem fangol bulo kono ben fam marano lale wayatara mantara mola maroko to woto nyimu kuleti mial nako kumaya tabaka andu nyimu lungoleti mial nako aka mol kafundi nyokanne keke kilinti kan killing wala ka fo banko kan nyin allungo sita andu nga juraro ka ke min aka ke kuleti mial nako aka kumaya bake banko la tariko nyim fanan kono woto comme ka yamaro min dido wala mu nyillun sifal wo manyana ka ke lunti da mati mi anako Gambia dingol nyanda ka ke kilinti bara nyanda ka ke lungolu ne kato mbiyemu Gambia dingol leti nyin lun sifal kumayata bake bari hana man ke nyin lun sifati ka ke kilinti mimu unity akumayata bake molla tariko kono le buba
baro dundale adunda nyala mi alon ko abedata ngajele ay fen ko yolle dum njegitale ko nyin san labango fana wala kenum ay haftani koy male dum ay nafu koy ma fanan dum ngajele abala moto santo a ko wulindi moto santo aba bulo wef kan molumi alon ko wolle nata bari ngajele ko nyinketa lokile bari modol finditale pour kam mabe abe abala moto kono science tenting abita kan ne pour ka futa moluma jannaba la sidulata la kola asala statement o di bari ngajele polisolu anin sojarolu mi alon ko walle kam ma kilungo kule mi alon ka kumayata bake jama sa fono le ko fan nyimu fenneti mi alon ko ka enjoy bake majda mi alon ka be kering be parele bi ramatulay ko je nyamenten e be nyiñaring sojarolu kara fo immigration olu kara fo police olu prison official il be mu molleti mi alon ko bi lunkuma balem itole minkera Gambia la independent oti bari banko president ngalo njikital ko sambi abala plaso tala sambi abala plaso tala way di wax gaay ne rek kerfatu ngeen nekk di setan di leen wax ne rek jamono jini independent bo xamne mu ngi xew xam ngeen ne tela Gambia am 59 years loolu lañ nekk di celebrate comme no leen ko nekk di gisee rek si biir si image yoo xam ne ñu ngi leen ko won dafa mel ni président bi dugasina jamono jini si baye bi foo xam ne right now ni mu ngi am welcome mu ngi wave soo xoolee si solin boo xam ne solo na ko dafa mel ni last year tamit di same thing na xaftaan la boo xam ne xaftaan bu white la mu sol mbaxana bu white police yëpp taxaw nañ soldaar yi ak ñoo xam ne yeneen takkader yoo xam ne ñu ngi war a maaj tey dafa mel ni lii lañ doon xaar pour président bi egsi pour ñu of course cérémonie bi mun a door Ramatulaay dafa mel ni président bi ñëw na egsi na si bay bi
buuba comme noo ko seetee nii lu ma jógee wax si soose la rek soo gisee président Adama Barrow comme noo ko waxee last year di same solin la def moo nekk di wone ne comme nañ nekk benn ndig lu weex foo ko gis moom lu mu nekk di wone rek moo nekk jaama pour mu am loolu laa la nekkoon di wax si kàllaama soose di la wax ne soo gisee independence loo xam ne dafa important si suñ dunda bu bëree bëri lu baax ndig soo ko seetloo bés boo xam ne la daf dee isi nit yi daf dee dajaloo nit yi duñ dee seet yow political party boo nekka ndig lii du yëfi politique lii loo xam ne la mbiri réew mi la moo tax it independence su jotee ñëpp dañ dee tasee Banjul si Makati Square bi ñu celebrate ko ndik comme noo ko waxee woon rek former président Yahya Jammeh bu mu nekkoon fii da ngay gis ne comme independence bi 22nd July bi nuñ ko doon celebrate ak independence bi daf daan utee tuuti waaye léegi gis nañ ne independence bi loo xam ne la nit yi nañ ko nekk di feeñal comme nit yi xam ne waaw bés bii la Gambia amee boppam bés bii la Gambia moom boppam te bés bi bés boo xam ne la dafa am solo si suñ dunda torop xale yi si lii lañ war a jàngee ñoo xam ne ñu ngi mag ndig ñoom tam dañu war a xam Gambia ban at la am boppam ak tamit depuis ñu am suñ boppa ak tey lan la Gambia munalal boppam loolu tam lu am solo la ndik nit yi independence sum dee ñëw jot nit yi dañ dee wax ne Gambia this year ñu ngi am 59 years waaye Gambia lan la munalal boppam ñu bëri dañ dee laajte loolu ñeneen sax dañ dee wax ne Gambia ba tey amuñ independence waaye lu am solo moo nekk ne dëgga 59 years ñu ngi ruulalal suñ boppa ñu ngi am suñ président yi boppa ñu ngi am suñ ministre yi boppa ñoo xam ne ñun doomi Gambia ni ñoo dee jël taanagaay yóbbu gaay si biir palais bi pour ñu liggéeyal ñu waaye ñu ngi gis ne His Excellency président Adama Barrow mu ngi wàcca si biir moto bi di ñëw nuyoo gis nga ñëpp taxaw nañ di ko nuyu mu ñëw toog ndik independent mu nekk daf dee joxe speech moo nekk daf dee tënka i kàddoom yoo xam ne moom guuram yooyu la def ak yum paree def tamit ak lan la amalal doomi réewam yi loolu lu am solo la lu baax te dinañ reflect on last year moom lu mu waxoon ne loolu la amalal waa Gambia ndax def na ko loolu tam lu am solo la ndik nguur ñu ñoo ko fa teg dafa am solo lu bari pour lum ñu wax wala lum ñu promise ñun ñu hold ko accountable ñu seen ndax defaral nañu ko wala defaral ñu ko ndik independent soo gisee ñu am ko pour ñu amalal suñ boppa la jaama ñu amalal suñ boppa suñ lu nekk daal ñu mun a lal ko suñ boppa moo tax ñun Gambian citizens yi every elections dañ dee génna ñu votal président yi votal député yi votal councilor yi moom président mu taana ministre am yu mu xam ne óolu na gaay pour ñu liggéey ak moom kon mu ngi mel ni His Excellency mu ngi nii di yëkkati loxo mi di nuyu dignitaries yoo xam ne ñoo fa nekk ndig gis nañ ministre Sam yaa ngi foofu noonu jabaram mi soxnaa mi koo xam ne moo nekk first lady gis nañ ko foofu noonu buuri Banjul Rohey Malick Lowe ndik xam nañ ne dara du xew Banjul ñu seppi ko foofu noonu moom Banjul daanaka dinañ wax ne moo ko moom kon gis nañ ko foofu noonu moom tamit ak ñu bëri former vice président Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang gis nañ ko foofu noonu gis nañ Bibi Dabo moom tamit Aïssatou Touré moom nekkoon na foofu moom moo xam ne nguuru Yaya Jammeh moom moo nekkoon vice président bi kon gis nañ dignitaries yi bëri lii moo lay won ne bés bu am solo la si suñ dunda abu
so we go there for the national anthem ngata ngal la moy banko wala fora julo la nga muron na rahmatullah
okay
You may resume your seats.
Baraka Bake, thank you so much. Walem na bankora fora julo timialon ko nga wale moy wo nyama minketa na national anthem ti abe Cairo le kumandi kan banko president o lotale ayala moy andung fanan minketa of course na city fani tiolti ya la anyama ani moli mi alon ko wolle biji ani moli mi alon ko wolle tata mabe ka dun demanding kolu kono ramatulay mi alon ko banko president because ka ning hakilo ba kan santambila ala team ketaminti wala mala kacha dati wala democracy a recipe for peace and development wala na democracy ti abe Cairo aning nyatota natino la nyaben wala keta ala kacha dati last year to abol camping command theme akamta kachata wala last year bari akwala mansa kunda be kala mansa kunda altimialon ko abe democracy respect la bari the principles of democracy fana iba kuma yandilale nyi mutun ko altimialon ko niaji be santambila aya malenum bari anata fana ma wolem nyindi ko fengol la da zero ayo nyumu kuleti mi alon ko aya diamule nun akabe ala mansa kunda abe kato kala jile pour ka ko fengol da si jino nyame nyi mutun kum fulan jannete mi alon ko aya manum last year bari diamu da banko fana na tankola fole nun fan last year ala statement to ni ala moy ako ite compromise la of course security bayri ni hakilo bakano last year watara nying am robbery be keri ni mol kan nyapindu mol kan adiamu taw fanan na kolale bari anata diamu fanan wotu mola ticha solu la nying strike be keri ako ala masakunda parine pour ka dialogue nyil mu kulleti mi alon ko afo bari banko fanan na electricity aya malenum ko this year aba make sure la ko pour electricity pour asi sabata nyimi kolleti mi alon ko ma last year but nga imam ratib ngara imam ratib duntale bari jannim mba connect la drong nyimu kulleti mi alon ko kumer mba jibe la abenyil address la nyame because ni ha jibe most of these things mi alon ko president ya fono last year from the rule of law, the principles of democracy, karafo na bangola electricity anen ku kote ngol mi alon ko ayafo nyilbe mu kolleti mi alon ko hani say nasol bijele fo abe address la nyaade this year ngata banjul nga jibe bayring imam ratib lota puruka duwake
أنت ولينا مولانا فنعم المولى نعم النصير اللهم اجعل بلادنا غامبيا بلدا آمنا مطمئنا يأتي رزقا رغدا من كل مكان ونجنا من كل بلاء وقلاء وتعاون وسنا ووباء طاهر من جميع ذلك بلادنا خاصة بلاد المسلمين عامة حرمة اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والقاتم لما سبق الناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدر ومقدار عظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم آمين توفيق ndokkale ko ndokkale Gambie yëpp ñi ci réew mi ak ñi biti réew ñëpp lii yal na sax ba pencam yàlla buñ mus di am problème yal na xol yëpp nekk benn ñëpp bokk ci boo bokk ndey ak baay liggéey ngir intérêt si nation bi ak réew mi ak général àddina bi yëpp yal nañ am jàmm wassalaamu aleykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Amen, Ya Imam. May I at this juncture respectfully invite the chairman of the Christian Council as representative, Mr. Bishop Bani Manga, to lead us in the Christian prayers. Bishop.
Please let us continue in prayer. Gracious God, you who made the heavens and the earth and has created us in your own image. We thank you for the nation of the Gambia, and we thank you that we have moved from an improbable nation to a nation of red, white, blue, white, green. We thank you for all that you continue to do in and through us in this nation of the Gambia. Gracious God, on this day in which we celebrate our independence, we pray that you will continue to lift your hand concerning this nation, and you will continue to give us peace. You will continue to give us progress. You will continue to give us prosperity, so that in respective of our diversities, we will continue to be one people under you, Gambians. Bless us. Bless our leadership. Bless our country. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior. Amen.
Amen. And may all the prayers be answered. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Mr. Adama Barrow, Grand Master of the Republic of the Gambia. Your Excellency, the First Lady, Madam Fatoumata Bah Barrow, Your Excellency, Madam Sajo Mbalo Barrow, Your Excellency, Madam Khadijatu Juma Jallo, who is the mother of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, His Lordship the Chief Justice of the Gambia, the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, honorable cabinet ministers here present, honorable members of the National Assembly and members of the judiciary, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, the Chief of Defense Staff, Gambia Armed Forces, and the Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force, Armed and Security Services Chiefs, General Officers, Senior Officers here present, heads of government departments, non-governmental organizations, parastatals, private companies and institutions, venerable religious leaders, members of the press, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols duly and respectfully observed. I am Lieutenant Colonel Lamin K. Sanyang, the Director of Press and Public Relations, Gambia Armed Forces, and Master of Ceremony for this very important 59th Independence Anniversary Celebrations Parade. On behalf of the National Organizing Committee, I would like to welcome you all to the Makati Square in Banjul on this fateful Sunday, 18th of February 2024. We are gathered here to celebrate, honor, commemorate, reflect, and pay homage to a day and an event that has shaped the course of history in the Gambia and the world at large. On this day in 1965, the Union Jack was lowered. And the Gambian national flag hoisted to mark the birth of a new nation called the Gambia. On this day, the Republic of the Gambia joined the great family of free nations as an independent nation and free people. Hence, the 18th of February is set aside each year as a national day in the Gambia to reflect, celebrate, and honor this fateful day when the chains of bondage and colonialism were broken and the Gambia became a nation of free and dignified people. At independence, it had been made clear that the Gambia is now the free homeland of the Gambian people, and that as a country liberated from the colonial yoke, it has natural rights. And these rights are the rights to sovereignty, territorial integrity, political independence, and unity. Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, at independence in 1965, a new nation called the Gambia declared that it bears no allegiance, obedience, or adherence to any foreign power or state, that only the sovereign people of the Gambia have the right to determine who is to lead this country and how it is to be governed, and no foreign power or state had the right to determine who is to lead our country and its manner of government. On this day, the Gambia and her people, armed with faith and hope in the spirit of progress and peace for a greater nation, embarked on this historic journey in search of socio-economic development and growth. Therefore, 59 years today, the Gambia can boast of several infrastructural developments in the area of, for example, the airports, state-of-the-art hospitals, excellent road networks, a modern university, a wide range of home trained as well as internationally trained lawyers, doctors, professionals in diverse fields. On this note, I have the singular honor and privilege to respectfully invite the parade commander, Lieutenant Colonel Abdullah Ba, to invite His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Adam Barrow, to inspect the troops. Parade Commander, sir.
Good morning, Your Excellency. I am Lieutenant Colonel Abdullah Ba, Parade Commander. 59 Independent Anniversary Parade from the 23 officers, 430
introduction, Your Excellency.
Alright, ala baraka bake ale be ñaabe banko president wala wo ñama ali ajele protocol dolu mi alon ko nyanta wala kala ay abe wala ke kan scientific abe maj kanne of course ala haketo wala abe wala ke kan scientific abida kanne sidifani tiolia pour ka inspection oge ke jibe abe wala ke kan nyin dabe fenkol konole adol konole mi alon ko ikake independence celebration odo ali ajela ba iba dandan kanne abida kan bare kabrim ba kuma silan wato min da nga falen ne ko veteran journalist o mi alon ko ka kumandi Lamin Chamla abe kafla mol fele ando scientific afuratale Lamin Cham mo journalist o mi alon ko Gambia be alon ne atlem editoti standard newspaper bari molem fana mi alon ko meta do ko kono bake bari molem mi alon ko tele kadi brunch programme o host Ker Fatou Jang molem mi alon ko ay tariko lom bake le minata Gambia la independent wala kola bari kibar talale mi alon ko ay meta kibar talale andum ay Gambia la tariko lom bake le ni nata independence celebration nga soto le studio kono ka dundu no ka dundu programme o ka bismillah Mr. Cham nga kolu commencé komale barakam tele ko kolu start le banko president of futatale former vice president of futatale minister of futatale adi mo kote ngolu scientific president o kam tele ko abe inspection la sidifani tiolu mi alon ko wolle be lori pour kana kamajo ke ni independent ko mi alon ko kana wala jura gambe sanji tanulu anin koronto le soro bi Mr. Jam.
Thank you very much, Buba and Ramatulai. Thank you very much for setting the scene for the coverage of Ker Fatou of the 59th anniversary of Gambia's independence. And thank you also for sharing the history with our viewers in the local languages. Yeah, thank you everybody, and a happy birthday if you are a Gambian everywhere, because it is the birthday of our country. 59 years. It was 59 years ago, yes. Yeah. It may seem very long time for some, but there are still people around who witnessed that significant calendar of our life of our country, 18 February 1965, when the British returned our country to us after 300 years of ruling it on our behalf. So what makes it important is that apart from these celebrations, it should be a day for reflection for Gambians, for us to assess how our journey had been towards nationhood. 59 years, well, compared to other countries, may be still a very, very young nation. But if you look at generally on the African continent, yes, we might be the last British colony on the continent to gain independence, but only 5 years, I think, separated us from the others, the earlier independent countries like Nigeria, among others Senegal, 1960, 63 Sierra Leone, 15-7 Ghana, Ghana actually being the first. So if you look at it, the average difference between our nation and others, not too much a gap. So we can also definitely say that it's been a long time since we become independent, and 59 years is not quite a short period of time. Yeah. So we should reflect about the achievements and challenges we have come across within these last 59 years. And then and only then can we be able to fairly judge whether we have attained what we desire or our forefathers desire on that day, February the 18th. On a Thursday, we were told at the Makati Square, the very place where the things happen. Now the history, well, has been told, over many years that the struggle began, of course, we know colonialism, the first early resistance came from our religious leaders. You had the names like Fode Kaba, Mahmoud Yahus, and all others. They were the first people to resist European, colonialism. The British fought them, in some cases bloodshed, and then exiled some of them and later executed others. So you see, that is why I think religious people have been sidelined in the history of our country. This is because the people who wrote our history are British, are colonialists. They are the ones who taught us, who and who were key players in our history. They deliberately sidelined the religious people. Yeah. And it was the religious people who actually put up a great resistance against the British. Yeah. It was only when they conquered that, and then of course the following generation who now began to learn the white man's own ways, of book knowledge, asking questions, asking for liberties, and then of course the Second World War came. Africans were drafted to fight for the British and the Europeans, that is it, and they saw white people being killed, they saw white people being wounded, they saw white people starved to death during the war, and they had to fight equally. Then they realized that, okay, there is no mystery about these Tubabs, they're just like one of us. Yeah, so these people are not better than us, they're human beings like us. So when the war ended, and then they said, now time for us now to look and seek our own lands, our own freedom, our own justice. So the colonial establishment around the world began to crumble because the people really have now been awoken either through book knowledge or through what they have seen themselves, and they began to ask for independence everywhere. So the colonial establishment around the world started collapsing. The Europeans had no choice but to give independence to the African nation. In some places they had to fight again, just like the Marabou's power. They had to fight. They had to be liberation wars in places like Zimbabwe, South Africa. Of course, we know they had an apartheid system that lasted until the 1990s. But the people in Mozambique and the Portuguese colonies, Mozambique, Angola, they had to fight. And in Britain, I mentioned Zimbabwe, they had to fight for their Namibia as well. So for us, it came to us peacefully, but then that should not make us to, belittle the efforts of our forefathers and the political front and the trade unionists like friend Jesse Fye, Edward Francis Small, the Emi Jallo, the trade unionist, and then you come down to I am Gaba Jahumpa, the Sadauda Jawaras, and the chiefs too. Although the chiefs were initially seen to be pro-colonialist, they were more on the side of the colonialist than the.
Maybe they were employed by them.
Yes, and they were made to be very powerful, and they regarded the independent, movements, pro-independent movements, as people who want to take away their powers, and that was exactly how it was. Because when we have self-independence, self-government, that means the chief's roles would be they will be diminished. So there was initially the chiefs were collaborators of the British colonial system, but in the end they know, of course, it didn't last. The British themselves started changing and creating legislative councils, and then people demanded universal adult suffrage, which means one man, one vote. So in that process, the chiefs were gradually they were gradually being dethroned. Their powers being reduced.
The powers were reduced. Yeah.
Exactly. So there was nothing left now for independent nations. Emerging nations to be granted independence. Ours came on the 18th February 1965 under Prime Minister Sadauda Kairaba Jawara. We continue to be, a subject of the British monarchy until 1970, when a referendum declared us a republic, and then we began to have our president. The governor was no longer our president. The Queen was no longer our monarch, so we own ourselves. The British continued to support us, though, in terms of economy up till 1975. I think they were the one funding our economy. This budget we now talking about, we are all been taken care of. The British, they were paying our civil service, and they were training them, and we had a long, a very good relationship. We continue to have a long relationship under Sadauda Jawara, of course. So many Gambians were trained by Britain, and the relations have been good under Sadauda. Even during the the Falkland War, 1982, when Britain and Argentina were fighting, the Gambia played a key role in supporting the British war effort. Their planes were coming to you were young then, I was very young, but I heard and saw jets landing in Banjul and taking off, going to help the British to fight their war. So overall, Buba, it is a day that we should sit down and reflect on and see what are the challenges. The governments that came, our own governments from Sadauda to Adama Barrow, we should look at them and try to give each of them their fair share of history, what they have failed and where areas they have achieved.
That's right. Just as I said earlier, Cham is definitely a historian, not only a journalist.
Definitely.
He's able to explain all his history. I'm sure a lot of young people are learning out there. But Cham, coming back to the last year's celebration, the theme was democracy, a recipe for peace and development. The president mentioned that he's going to respect the principles of democracy. And he mentioned also the high cost of living in the country. He said his government will endeavor to reduce the prices of commodities in the country. Okay, so we're going back to the Makati Square. We'll be back immediately after the ceremony, and we're going to discuss all this with Mr. Chairman, of course, and Ramatullah in the studio.
Lieutenant Colonel Abdullah Ba to commence the parade. Parade commander, sir.
Slow! Right! We'll march past in slow and in quick time. Advance in review order. By the center. Right wheel. Slow! Mike!
Shall we please rise for the flag? Sir, you may resume your seats.
Check it out. Well done. Nico obturan itu masa dulu.
Drive and come abroad.
Right, sir!
Officers and colors, take forward.
Excellencies, at this juncture, we shall witness what is called the three volleys for a joy, or firing for a joy. This is also part of the compliments that the troops are going to pay to His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia of the Armed Forces, Mr. Barrow. Please note that the ammunition that we use is blank ammunition and was unarmed. Besides, they will be pointing their rifles into the air whilst they fire. I thank God for your kind attention.
Stand! No!
And anytime they fire, there will be a rendition of the national anthem, so it is expected that we rise to pay compliments. Thank you.
Chin! Right! Commence!
to the Gambia.
You may resume your seats. I only hope. I only hope my fullers and seriousness did not start running.
Will remove headdress. Remove headdress. Three hearty cheers for His Excellency the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces, His Excellency Mr. Adama Barrow. Head, back, back. Head, back, back. Head, back, back. Head, replace headless. Replace headless. Will form 3 ranks from 2 ranks. Form 3 ranks. Officers and callers, we take both.
Shall we give the parade commander and the entire parade an outstanding round of applause for the splendid show of our drill? Next, we have the national anthem.
National! National! Salute! Present!
Police aɓe sornoɓe e ɗum ɗon fof ko tawagol rek e juurade e ñaame o nani fere onon ɗo pelli
Parade commander shall now march forward to take permission from His Excellency President and Commander-in-Chief to march off the parade. And that will bring us to the end of this very splendid display of drill by the Armed Security Services of the Gambia.
After the march pass in slow and in quick time. Fans into the border. Firing for the joy and 300 cheers. I have your permission to march off the parade, Your Excellency. Will march off. Move to the right and to the left. Right and by the left. Quick march.
Gambian ni yana kono na kosa karna gomar Gambian ni nya yana kono ko jaman internet mo jaman palle semmen daga terne ko kamma jaman palle daga ne ko nan tino ko dictate mana hida bari nan to o nyana kundo sakko kundo baka kundo ken daga nyana watni ken fe angat nan ke kota kota qorani kota ne angat nan kota mbe a jata denga kota na ke kana kinye yerta kinye na nga preparation gabe ndabal bari ri xallende ila jura ni mo godi ananta de stalim fo gemu den kengan excellency president of the republic of the Gambia ara national dialogue nyar kengan fanna be politique patun toro onta o wote ngana kinyo o simmo onta bana ko bana mununu hangi ngana gidi do ni igitambi bi may lu julanye wote pakati ngana kinye tora way lankisini hona dagi pati no gondi honi gankan nuko anyana jamudo khairi no tenko nya kama ado rule of law kenga ni mare mo boss denga parce que goti kebe angat nandi ngaro tokora kebe ti Gambia ran kunne kengia ado ke endaraja do ke khairi be gay ran kunne anatalla andume parce que na Gambia tu kenye Gambia gana jiri harsa nantalla njate kenye ken no gondi watni ken kota gana ni kota nanti na ken kota daga ona arago kitumpini nanti Kenya ni gara national dialogue ndabar yerdo kota kenaka angat nanti do presake nankat nankacha dome ini kitungi ni memanya politique mbadno kasudne isumbo mu ido presake bito man me Kenya ni rigi galle anjiri nyana independent nyana ko mane banani me nyenga bono bari me nyenjo pege ligeli me feboran kason tamuno nakatonga kesunya hinu ay angat nan hinu belu nan kacha jamane daga kane nan kacha to yirwan tangolunga nan kacha
please rise once again as the colors
Gambia ran kunne ko wanni angat nan na teker no tenkuenga ado jamane le munduru mera mo kengi do mena ganya kenni komaru warni figane ken kachen kunde hada ma gonchu khannga Gambia nyen no gonni ken dogaro dokita na ke kota ka jura tankara ga do sinabana wadi lenki ora gonnya non junuari fofo gati gonnya pula nga jamane ken gonni wadi ora mo ko war lenki kengani GRTS ido stal kuruma nyalle wadni hoga terne sakunda baka live kenno nga lagadi yibe garagati tangande pol la konsoronga ado GRTS cameraman no gara uniform berondi angap nanti kwani jamane television ka gorenga kwani jamane radio station gorenga
once again
gelire ma stop station
on behalf of the national organizing
gelire ma
committee
Kudang ma Bansang gelire ma
board that was
gelire
tasked
ma North Bank
among the armed security services to plan and prepare this independence anniversary parade.
ado basi ti
I am Usman Kwale Alamin Ministerial. Would like to thank you all most profoundly having found time out of your busy schedules to join us celebrate this very important day. This brings to the end the commentary on behalf of the Armed Security Services Parade. I shall now hand over proceedings to the Director of Press and Public Relations Office of the President, Madam Ami Bojang Siso. It's all yours, ma'am.
Makar square di palace angap na kebe Gambia di dero kunna ay ken no ndi watni kota ko renyami
thank you very much
hibenu garni
people are in front of him
fofo ganti na match pass da bari ken no ndi Kenya ka bani yaay compil ni jaharu lenki kota na ko da na suni taw mo ge mun da bari ti ko da kona microphone ke passi haja salu jajwa sali bismillah.
Thank you so much, Haji Sumbundu. Well, viewers out there and listeners, well, the security forces have done their part when it comes to today's celebration of the independence anniversary. They are now moving out of the square, and the school children will take the lane to march past His Excellency the President. The force MC for the occasion is also done with his part of the event, and now it is the Director of Press and Public Relations at the State House, Honorable Susumo, taking over the Master of Ceremony.
All right, thank you very much. Bariwal walam march past the Nalonko al-Nyaya wala jete na security personnel olu mi alon ko wala biye wala muna silifani tiwti mi alon ko wala biye ali ajele majni ma balke katambi president wala ando nimbetenten kan hani sai makade square da mi alon ko bi alpha bali bitajele na mola ki blande dro gambia sanjitam lulu anin kono tole solo bi ando wo juraro de kere tuwa waka ko independent mi alon ko wala be kere sa intende sa folo le ko sojarolu ngalon ko wolle ka diamu to yala atela side bantale saying ami bojang siso ngalon ko atlem ko sam director of press and public relations state house atele batala da ngalon ko banko president of the diamla chamna dlamanu ko manto no dina ko sam president of the diamla bari ngalon ko last year ala kachala kida min wala min kira ala bindi wala democracy a recipe for peace and development wala democracy di pour ka Cairo sabatindi ani fanan pour ka nyato da solo yamta no wala ala konsa kunda tan lenum ko e ba jalale ko pour kama fe mi alo ko lon kama le pour ka democracy tombandi ala konsa kunda ba kelale sero sama ni daba la kuma kawo ko mi ala ko ay wolle ko adi amuta dum fanan ko ko mil boko price la sero la wala na fe wala da la sero la ita na marcel do adi amuta dum fanan security kata compromise la gambia jam adi amuta electricity fanan na ko la do adi ku kata wal mi ala ka ma mi a jibe last year ala ni kuma kawo cham ko mi ala ko ay wolle fitinde do yajibe ka compare with ko la mialo ko wala keta sama la mialo ko wala tambita fo ya mera ko ni mu ko do le mialo ko ci benol be jele fo mansa kunda hansa en ko do be tasay.
Well, you want me to speak in Mandinka?
Yeah, you can speak in language. Mandinka, all of English. It's fine.
Okay, you can. I leave you to speak Mandinka,
yeah.
And you Fula.
Yeah, sure.
I speak English so that in that way I can reach all the other language. Well, yes. Like I said, it is a time for us to reflect on what could have been achieved and what has been achieved and what were the challenges. Yes, specifically, the president mentioned the intention he has and plans for his government last year. And even though, of course, he may not have set specifically a target of time to be able to achieve those things. But all the same, it is fair to say that there are still a lot of challenges on the road to achieve what he envisaged last year. If you look at democracy, the space of democracy, yes, because fundamentally he has to operate within the parameters of democracy. And even though there were challenges within the last 12 months, yes, there have been people who have either been threatened with a court action or have actually been arrested for what they might have said. And those are seen to be not quite conducive with a democratic environment. The cases, well, there are particular cases of opposition politicians or civic society commentators and people in the media who are either bloggers or people who are, or we have even seen in the case of comedians, been either arrested or threatened with court actions. Those are quite not in conformity with enhancing democratic principles. I mean, these issues would be interpreted by politicians, especially those supporting the president, to say that, oh, this is not an attack on democracy. But then, generally, those things are not needed, you know. But apart from that, yes, there has not been any serious erosion of liberties, you know, as compared to the past. So he has to operate on the democratic parameters. What has happened under the last 12 months, yes, you could see there have been challenges to that promise. In terms of electricity and other facilities that he promised, like I said, he didn't give a time frame. But then, you know, we have seen that they've inaugurated one or two projects dealing with expansion of access to energy for the people. He mentioned the solar plant in Jambur or Jambanjeri areas, the OMVG grid that is projected to enhance access to electricity. But overall, we have also seen frequent blackouts and total dependence, if not a lot of dependence, on the car power ship and energy coming from Senegal. So I think that is an area that the government has not really been able to surmount in any significant way. And so whatever achievements have been made, we can safely say that we are far short of desired targets in terms of access to energy. Yeah.
Even basic food commodities.
Yeah, I'm coming to that too. Yeah, he also said they will try as much as possible to control the escalating food prices, and I don't think much has been achieved in that area too. Even though, yes, the Gambia Food Processing and Marketing Corporation, formerly GGC, which has now been expanded in terms of operations to not only buy groundnuts, but to encourage, the marketing of other products such as rice and other things. They have brought in rice that they were selling at cheaper prices than those obtained elsewhere in the market. So, but those efforts may be very good, but they're still far short of the overall needs of the population. So yes, we still import vegetables from Senegal. Even if they are produced here, there's still no market to be able to store or to preserve them, and prices have continued to rise. Basic commodities are still unaffordable to the large majority of Gambians, and these are areas I think the government cannot claim to have really surmount. There are still problems with that. The cost of fuel also have gone up, over the last 12 months, I think twice or so, I can remember. So if we have to reflect on what the president promised and what obtained last year, between now we could say we have not still achieved what he intended and promised.
That he mentioned last year was he's going to monitor the public institutions. He mentioned this in several occasions, but last year during his independence speech he also mentioned that. But I'm not sure whether that habit of going to work on time, punctuality, is still there. And a lot of people question this.
Yes, I remember it very well. He said that, well, the speech was actually to inspire and spur people to take their job seriously and their responsibilities by coming on time and leaving on time. and also dealing with, in terms of files or in terms of issues on their table, to deal with it judiciously, and expediently. He said that. But then I don't think we've still seen that there is no, in most areas, there is no clocking and clocking out system. If there exists, whether it has been enhanced to the letter, I doubt it. So that may be an area that his government needs to work on. I think the Minister for Civil Service and stuff like that have also said that this year, this particular year, 2024, should be a year that government will rigorously monitor the performance of civil service. He said the year is for the year of delivery. So that is an extension of what the president said, an expansion of what the president said last year. So it shows that there is still a willingness, intention on the part of the government to ensure that civil servants and duty bearers deliver on the promises his government made. There is still a strong will, as echoed by the Minister for Public Service, when he said this year should be the year for delivery. So by and large, if you compare last year and this year, we could say there have not been any significant resolution to some of the issues that confronted us last year. Of course, when you come to infrastructure, the government, of course, has an obsession of showing that we have built roads and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, the OIC roads, they have been, especially the major one, the Battle Hardened Highway has come into shape now. The president's watchword was, okay, let's wait until things get shape. Gradually we will get there. So the Battle Hardened Highway is getting to shape, and it's a very nice road to drive on, even though there are still issues dealing with safety that are still going on, and problems of traffic jams, and that some of them blame on poor design, some of them blame on lack of knowledge of usage of this. And the NRA, that's not National Authority, said they're going on a campaign that will enlighten people on the use of the road, and they believe that will reduce the traffic jams on the road. The other OIC roads, that is the feeder roads, 20 feeder roads, after they've been stagnated for a long period, causing a lot of lack of confidence. They now, fortunately, have come up. Most of the feeder roads have really gone up, have been shaped now, and have been either completed or very near completion. So that is an achievement over the last 12 months, because I have seen roads such as the Brookfoot Road, the Willingham Highway, the Willingham Johnson to the Willingham Park, as well as roads, the Bigelow Sukuta Camping Road, and other feeder roads in Kanifing. I can see that after a long time, they are now getting on shape. So over the last 12 months, yes, there have been tremendous achievement in those roads. So, and then if you go to Hakalang, the minister was there. I think there have been some more improvements in the walk, and the Lamenkoto, Pasimas roads, So, and these are the babies of the president. He's very much proud of these things, and doesn't hesitate to bring them out. So if the devil must have his due, I think we can fairly say that over the last year, these roads have really come to shape.
Thank you, Ramotulai. Ngalun saying majo kerale karamundo dinengol fanang majo kele because adabe kolo kono mialon ko akake sa intendi be lorin president afela be ji kan nang pour kana karamundo dinengol be dame last year diamuta tija solla ko lale encourage pour wila ni strike dialogue ko la masa konda pare dialogue la pod nyaji be comme chamba foka nyame angale kamoto last year ala diamol kono ay dulal mialon ko ay wollema fon reflecte le fonga jeleba sangoto mialon ko tambita wala wasa diamuta security la kola diamuta le about ngolla da sero bare kam ta ko president kana diamo ya ni ngala diamo ta after ngamuru.
Former Vice Presidents present, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, my Lord the Chief Justice, Honorable Members of Cabinet and the National Assembly, Lord Mayors of Banjul and Kanifing Municipality, Regional Governors, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, representatives of international organizations and partners, political party leaders, government officials and service chiefs, community and religious leaders, fellow Gambians, boys and girls, proudly and closely bound as a nation, we have come together once again, as we do every year, to commemorate our beloved country's attainment of political independence on 18 February 1965. Ever since, particularly from 2017 to date, we have come a long way as a nation, defying all odds to make remarkable achievements in the process of national development. In fact, the successes we registered since I assumed office as president 7 years ago are spectacularly phenomenal, tangible and undeniable. Our socio-economic achievements, especially in infrastructure development, are physically visible, cutting across all sectors, regions, communities, and demographic characteristics. The coronavirus pandemic, climate change, and other global crises, severe as they may be, have not deterred us from marching forward. Rather, we continue to make progress in a turbulent world of ever-increasing and unforeseen unrest, leading to instability in every corner of the globe. These notwithstanding, we must continually seek solutions to all possible challenges ever before they emerge. In light of the upheavals, fears and threats within the sub-region and beyond, we must endeavor to educate our people and inspire them to remain steadfast in safeguarding the nation, contributing to its progress, and helping to secure the peace and stability we so lovingly enjoy as Gambians. For this reason, it is necessary to ask searchingly, how can we preserve the nation as a people, together with our successes, and build on them? How can we safeguard the nation, inclusive of our sovereignty, symbols of authority, and institutions? How can we secure our resources and utilize them in the best interest of the people? These questions compelled me to conclude that this year's National Day celebration should be devoted to reflection on our collective responsibility of preserving the nation, safeguarding the state, and securing our resources. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, preserving the nation for what it was requires us to cherish and safeguard our identity, history, culture, social structures, relationships, and everything else that distinguishes us as a people. Embedded in these trends are our shared values and ways of coexisting in peace and harmony as Gambians. Hence, we must make sure that they are not corrupted to give way to indecency. To succeed in this national endeavor, the government we choose to manage our affairs, the constitution and the laws that regulate behavior, the institutions that provide services, and the territorial boundaries that define our land surface must be at the heart of whatever we do. Without these, our resources would be wasted, which we must collectively resolve to prevent. At the core of our development is the economy, which lies at the center of three important features, namely our resources, human and material, our productivity in scope and intensity, and thirdly, our level of creativity to initiate positive change, execute appropriate action, and utilize goods and services appropriately and maximally. These cannot be attained in any country without the active and collective engagement of its people. The dynamics that frustrate such efforts may corrupt up from within or outside. With a united front tie to a common goal and with collective vigilance and reinforced by civilian cooperation with the security services, we will always repel all acts of subversion and crime against the state, either arising from within the country or elsewhere. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have successfully developed massive infrastructure to the point that there are formidable road links in every region of the country. The agriculture sector is now booming following the bumper harvest recorded this year. Tourism is peaking again, and energy generation stands at a level never recorded before in the history of the Gambia. The expansion in education and health services is prominent, and my government continues to receive positive feedback in all areas of development. We are fully aware, nonetheless, that development is a never-ending process. As a result, we will continue to work hard and invite all Gambian citizens and supporters to come on board and be part of the national bandwagon to fly the Gambian flag much higher. These flags, the collective responsibilities that lie on every one of us. To spell it out, these are the civil responsibilities of acting passionately and legitimately on our mandates, roles, duties, and assignments as public servants or private citizens or both. Our national plans, sector policies, programs and projects, legal frameworks, and service delivery are done transparently to allow for public participation and scrutiny. Every citizen and friend of the Gambia, therefore, has the opportunity to be part of the process, and we encourage everyone to come on board. I challenge you to transform these thoughts into sustained, meaningful dialogue to educate the people and allow everyone to play their roles as patriotic and constructive Gambian citizens. I suggest further that such themes be the thrust of formal and informal discussions, including engagements in educational and non-educational institutions, to feed onto the public discourse on our collective responsibility to protect, preserve, and make the most of the nation and its resources.
The ultimate goal of all such engagement must, however, rest on the attainment of our development targets and objectives. The recent consultative activities with the political leaders and national dialogue were both received with approval and were successful. The response and participation of political leaders, civil society organizations, and the public were healthy and constructive. I thank the participants and organizers alike for these accomplishments and urge that we continue the process with the same good spirit and goodwill. I thus endorse the National Dialogue Initiative to be an annual event. Fellow Gambians, boys and girls, lives have never been rosy all the way. Therefore, we do not promise that life in the Gambia could be trouble-free. It is unrealistic to expect this. We are bound to encounter difficulties, such as those imposed on us due to global developments. Price rises, shortages of essential commodities, and budgetary constraints should be expected. In such circumstances, we should unite patiently and apply remedial measures. The government will always seek ways out of every difficulty that confronts the nation, and we expect the people to support us to resolve such challenges. I pay tribute to all those who have contributed to our progress and attainments so far. These include those within and outside the country, be they in government or in any other domain of public-private life. The citizens of the Gambia in general and our partners in particular fall within this bracket. Distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we celebrate our National Day, my government reaffirms its commitment to building an education system that is not only a pillar of national pride, but also a catalyst for sustainable, inclusive development. Indeed, we are charting a course towards a brighter, more educated future for every child living in the Gambia. At the forefront of our achievements is the remarkable progress in inclusive and equitable education. The success story on providing school infrastructure is equally unprecedented. This is meant to influence learning outcomes and positively impact enrollment. Besides increasing access to quality education, my government is setting the stage to adequately equip our citizens with expertise in digital technology through the school curriculum. We will continue as well to recognize, honor, and celebrate both teachers and students who excel without injustice to anyone within the sector. Boys and girls, there are a lot of opportunities at your disposal. Nations, particularly youth, thrive on education and training. You must realize, therefore, that skills, education, and training could speedily result in building the economy, expanding self-employment, and allowing you to take control of the economy. The recent establishment and upgrading of tertiary and higher education institutions by my government are meant to multiply your chances of success. The future is yours, but so is the present being modeled in your favor. Make the most of both worlds, and your families, communities, and nation will forever remain proud of you. As the adage goes, the key in use is never rusty. Stick to your schoolwork, read extensively, and work like disciplined citizens so that you will shine bright wherever you may be. The education sector personnel and students, the security services present, and the organizing committee of these 59 Independence Day anniversary celebration deserve special mention. I thank you all most sincerely. Together with our outstanding security services, the exciting voluntary organizations, and resourceful teachers, we thank every student for the brilliant parade displayed this morning. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we appreciate your attendance and congratulate everyone on this auspicious occasion. I pray that we celebrate the day together for a long time to come and humbly ask God to bless us and bless the Gambia. I thank you for your kind attention.
Kuragol le nyalande independence anniversary.
Mbadingol be kontona. Be Gambian ko be kontona. Be mu lunnati lumbalo Gambia la tariko ko. Lunnom lungo me ya lonko Gambia la tariko kono, Gambia la politiko kono, lumman sobon na tariko kono, lungo men kummayata kanyil lungo si wolom 18 February 1965. Niaje nganyin kumofo, mo me ya lonko, tuwabo le mara, kabo Angleterre forcé okan, keke jongoti, sanyi keme jama, ninnata mol sobo meye tewosidi e keloke fojo ya julo kuntudan kamoto wolom 18 February 1965 mamira mobe ku soto la mentam bitawol o bulum balti na lungol kon niaje ko wala kumata niaje iko president Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara ni 18 February 1965 wala o sa niaje iko president Yaya Jammeh ñin 18 February 1965 wala asab ñaaje ko president Adama Barrow ñin 18 February 1965 wala asab oto lunku malom ñin ñamoy ko Central Bank of the Gambia iko Chief of Defence Staff of the Gambia mune o sabu ñin lungole asab oto ñim lunku ma bal bari mbe Gambian ko tentulambe jura la fanan mbe ni mbara kata ko men be keda kabin 1965 ani bitem mbe mel ni mbara nak me alon ko te lekada jarinte woltinu e kelo ke yarantel mawlu fo Gambia na ta fanso wol kono president Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara bari dunia man dan karama doronna o Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara law patio mel ya ko mira mel ya ko tama sanjali bojan wol man karam bari hakkilo so do wor hakkilo wala be karamo nyaata woto mol me jurala bi bak nkontanda fanan na vice president wala nala jam former vice president wala mel nata jam bi e monani lebe sirin jang bari dunya ko be wonyale momo ni la lungol jinkanale am lungol ka tambile bari kukili wo kumayata ni nata faydo ko ke la Gambia e Gambia la banko e foyi naata ye foñondi ye buña iko ñim place kuma be sini woltuno ye buña wokan ye kumandi wokan woto mu kule di meala ko ñanta mobe sila nte president Barrow membe lori njambi nin duata lu wolu nga duwa ñinnale na president ya bankairo kono nga muru nga ken former president of the Republic of the Gambia nga tara siri ñim banko kan nga na signi mabe dula yento commande as former president of the republic nga wala duwa buña balom wayri moman fisia modi ñim banko kan bele kanyanda ñim banko bele tamu ñim banko bari wati be sor la mo dantan wolle be tar la ñaato mel be banko tamandi 1965 president Jawara be lolo jallum men ya rante wuluta ngatili sabadron ne soto Jomaya amira no ka fogo bi 59 years ndele be lola janka ke Gambia la president mo amira no bala kit de wol oto ndefana tabe tambilale modo ena lo jang ay ndel fana history bare lafta ni history nyimbe fala ke history nyi ñaari mbati ay ken na legacy woto mbafala gambian kol be nga nyillugo kumma ani lugo nyi suita mbonga mabe mbenga jura mbenga kontan nyinan dum musanji tan lulu anin kononto bari jari be kala sanji tan woroliti natar hadama di wotara faye sanji tan woro si amunta ko sa nyanta dogo kala foye pension woto na banko wala sanji tan woro abe sila next year woto afrotale a keba yata fa afrota dulato mi ala nyanta pension nol bari yalo banko de pension na bari lafita jari wolo sanji tan woroti mba jurala le baake gambia kon mbe lafila nga modol fon invite ne bala banque dol to ira mabe ngam fanyitan din dellom jumalti ani nga katol men ko sanji tan woro ko oto mbe nyin kibaro dira mobe la ka fo jari mbe lafila mobe mabe nyin lungoto wolo keta non kumodi me alon ka men soto bari mbe former president la muso mba tentu la baake le di cilel jawara anata mabe jang mba tentula andu mba congratulate la fana former vice president mbe congratulate la nama sakunda mo mel bi jam bebe congratulate la woron na minister na cabinet ni amoy cabinet etin February 1965 wala asabu ni amoy ba for honorable minister honorable national assembly member lord mayor etin February 1965 woron mbal be tentula mbal be jayla mba fala ko assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Sorry for that. Thank you so much. That was His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Adama Barrow, at the Makati Square there. There was actually a very long speech in English and also in Mandinka. Thank you so much. Just to remind you that you are watching Kerfatu, and we are broadcasting live in our studios in Tranquil, and we have our technical team in Banjul at the Makati Square. Badingol wolem banko president oti mi alon ko adiamuta independent celebration o mi alon ko wolebe caring nga minje wolem nyinti ko ala stil meno di angale fongodo anata fananka diamu man fongodo ko ka diamu well president woni nam fanan ay kara jamal male ala stil meno do ay mo ci jey mo li alon ko wolem surtout vice president woni alon ko wolem tambida ma gulato ay molbe tempo ay jey anata diamu ako ajam fata baki kabin 2017 anin nilan samo pol nyalo ko walleketa anata ka diamu ala achievement do la wala success nyalo ko ala mansa kunda ay waleke surtout infrastructure wala lorol ti nyalo ko ay waleke lorol nyalo ko ay walleke diamu ta wala karola bare diamu dafa ngata kungol la abe fintikan na kamtale ko fam banko president way fintikan ne pour kata wala kata national anthem nyinta bari kata bake drong yes national anthem ngata la moy ngana la state meno jube ko mi alon ko ay wala fa do
Kenya national anthem nga nasmana
all right, thank you very much. That was the, of course, national anthem of the Gambia. Ko ngafu nyamen rombe kolle jibe kan tunkungol mialon ko banko president o ay wolle mabi ko ngafu nyabe nga commencé nyamen kabring ay moltentu mialon ko wolle nata mabe ka wala man sakunda do kula al katafo former vice president ol mialon ko wolle nata ka mabe nyim bengoto min keta independent celebration oti mialon ko abe kering adiamuta ako keta a jamfata bakele kabring in 2017 kata fo nyinan sangola kolu mi alon ko wolle keta ala mansa kundato bara nata diamu success wolem kolu mi alon ko ala mansa kunda keno surtout infrastructure wolem lorol ti mi alon ko ala mansa kunda ay wole ke Gambia banko kanjang mi alon ko ya soto bari adiamuta fanan ngatan kungol la mi alon ko ala mansa kunda wole soto mimbe dending covid-19 nyun kurango mi alon ko wole fintita non ay dulale be afek nyamen ad dunia kono adiamuta wo kolta bari adiamuta min kola bake fanan wole nyindi ko purkaje ko na banko nga min soto nsa maintain no nyaade tubabol kam min fo pour ka collective responsibility to preserve our resources nga min soto na banko kono jang pour ka jibe mba kantano la nyamen Gambia jang ni mu quality mi alon ko president o diamuta la kola bakele ngalonne of course am lorol be kerina nen ku kotangol bari ngam min soto Gambia jang pour sa kantano nyamen bari abe kala quality mi alon ka be kala den quality banko be Gambia dingolu mi alon ko wolle bi jang ani momo ka wuli Gambia jang pour nga den pour ka je ko drong c'est fengolu kanta mi alon ko ngawolle soto jang Gambia banko kan jang wo kola diamuta agriculture kola ako nyinan sango akam tele ko seno nyim beteata bakele wo mu nyato talti ni nata agriculture la koto nyim dabe kol kono mi alon ko aya fo la spito bari mba fanundi la nyato domande diamuta fanan tourism ako tourism is speaking malon ngay mune min bay woto bari kam tele ko abe tourism nying promote kanne despite mo jama modolu mantra contanding na tourism sector bitaka nyamen bari president of ya kam tele ko kolu bitaka a nyamale tourism sector to wala mun na luntangol la tani na Gambia banko kan jang adiamuta fanan energy sector wala mun kurang wala fannate adiamuta je fanan kala mansa kunda la katakolu mi alon ko wala ke energy sector adiamuta wo fanan na bari adiamuta about national dialogue fanan mi alon ko wala keta niya la hakilo ba kandung political party la soltata non state house le nim president kachara bari o kola in national dialogue natake on the 16th of nyin karombe min konoten de keda non adisa dawda karaba jawara conference center e thematic area solu tombonne mi alon ko ye wolle kacano banko president of mabita non je fanande anindula ko tangol to kera fenneti mi alon ko adiamuta kola ko nyimu kuleti mi alon ko anyanda fanundi la pour ka futa dula dolu fananna adiamuta andum fanan ay expectation ol bijele ko kolya kolbe sotolale bari akonin kolya kol fanan sotata la mansa kunda be pareri ne pour ka je ko ka lo pour ka molu ma ko nyim kola ko mi alon ko wolle be kire nyim fana mu fannalti mi alon ko adiamuta la ko surtout fengol la da selo la adiamuta fana na karangola bundala min keda educational sector ti da mi alon ko aya fole ko aba jibe la mansa kunda be educational sector le lokan mi alon ko laftale pray ke nyonta ngoti bari aba woke ka nyala mi alon ko abe lori jamal le ke kan ni nata na karangola fanna bundato nyel mu sector le timi alon ko kumayata bakele andung ay ma janning bita chamia be ramatulay follow tala of course ngana ta chamia ramatulay ye president wala moyle tunkungolu mi alon ko ay wole fo nyina akam tele ko the difference bijele ni nata ala last year speech and in this year speech I remember last year and in this year kam tele ko difference to bande bijel
buba baraka bake comme matenkal len ko si wolof rek buba lum ne kon de wasikala ma sosé ndik gis nañ ne his excellency ñun ñep waxtu bi lañ ne kon di xaar ndik independence bu jot his excellency president Adama Barrow wala képp ko xamne ya nekk di jité réew mi muy Gambia dang lay joxe speech mo nekk ñu taxaw waxana Gambian si won gaay lan nga amal gaay ak yow si at bu passé bi yan development nga isi fi si réewi Gambia gis nañ ne comme bu programme bi starté Buba ak Mr Cham ñu doon reflect on last year His Excellency President Adama Barrow moom waxtaan yu waxtaanal doomi Gambian si ren tamit gis nañ ne mu ngi isi waxtaan yoo xam ne am na solo lool si réewi Gambia bi ndig gis nañ ne His Excellency President Adama Barrow bu mu taxawee di waxtaan moom nuyu na cabinet minister Sami nuyu na former vice president yoo xam ne ñoom ñoo toogoon foofu noonu si géew bi foofu noonu soo gisee His Excellency President Adama Barrow moom nag wax na ne soo seetloo moo nekk last year ñëw ba ren soo ko seetloo moom nag nguuram bi def na loo xam ne lu bëri comme nu mu ko tënkalee rek si waxtaanam bi wonee na ne soo seetloo COVID-19 moo xam ne jàngoro la woon laaloon na àdduna bi yëpp mu ne soo seetee Gambia tamit comme nu mu sonalee yeneen réew wi noonu la sonalee Gambia tamit waaye loolu bu mu paasee da ngay seet ne moom nguuram bi def na lu bëri tamit soo seetee si wàllum infrastructure His Excellency ndig gis na ne mu ngi sampa yoon yi fii si Kombo bi dem ba si dex bi tamit His Excellency President Adama Barrow soo ko seetloo moom si wàllum yoon yi moom nguuram bi mu ngi si jàppal lool soo seetloo waxtaan na tamit si yëfi tourisme moo nekk suñ gan yoo xam ne ñoo dee jógee bitim réew ñëw fii nii si biir Gambia bi His Excellency comme Buba nu mu ko waxee ñu bari nag ñu ngay joytu ne suñ tourisme secteur bi nekkul di dem waaye His Excellency moom dafa mel ni kontaan na si nu tourisme secteur bi nekk di demee ndik wax na ne soo ko seetloo tourism sector baa ngi smile moo nekk soo waxee smile si kàllaama wolof moo nekk mu ngi ree daal te ree nag foo ko gis xam nga ne wàllum kontante moo fa nekk soo seetloo wax na tam si wàllum jànga bi His Excellency moom nag mu ngi daan dooleem pour gis ne Gambia ñu taxawal fii educational sector boo xam ne comme dina isi ñëpp ñoo xam comme ñëpp dinañ si bokka ndik soo ko seetloo mu ne mu ngi def kémtalaay kàttanam pour seet ne educational sector bi gars yi tabax infrastructure yu bëri fii nii si biir réew mi fii nii soo ko seetloo His Excellency moom wax na ne soo seetee high cost of commodity bi jombut benn réew Gambia tamit bokk na si ndig loo xam ne la nekkul Gambia rek la laal waaye dafa mel ni across the world la wala across Africa la waaye mu ne moom soo seetloo nguuram bi dañoo def seen kéemtalaay kàttan gis ne nu gaay di saafarale loolu noonu fii si biir réew mi waxtaanee na lu bari loo xam ne Gambian si loolu lañ nekk di jooytu dafa mel ni nguur bi xam nañ Gambian si lu nekk di jooytu moom nag wax na ne soo ko seetloo nguuram dañoo def seen kéemtalaay kàttan seet nu gaay di defee pour loolu noonu yëpp gaay mën a koy solve te si waxtaanam tam Buuba wax na ne comme nit yi nuñ toogee noonu rafet na lool ndig moom gërëm na former vice président si ñoo xam ne ñoo teewee foofu noonu mu ne moom tam bugga na mu nekk nguur biir Gambia ba mu wàcca bés bu mel ni moom tam mu ñëw toog si géew bi fekkee ñu koy ooyee former president of the Gambia mi ne loo xam ne la moom bugga na ko si xolam gis nañ ne waxtaan na si kàllaama nasaraan mu ñëw tënka ko tamit si kàllaama soose pour ñoo xam ne ñu ngi toog si kër bi mënuñoo egga Makati Square foofu noonu sa Banjul gars yi mun a xam moom lu mu nekk di moom lu mu nekk di wax foofu noonu si biir Banjul kon lii bés la loo xam ne bés bu am solo la si suñ dunda waaye dangay gis ne Buuba comme nuñ nekk di waxee ni lu mu nekk di wax depuis last year wala depuis 2017 His Excellency moom comme promise yu bari la jox Gambian si doomi réew mi waaye dafa mel ni soo seetloo si internet bi sa right now ñu bari kontaanuñ comme Mr Cham lu mu ko waxee def na waalam si Gambia moom tamit lu mu mun mu ngi koy def waaye dafa mel ni Gambian si bari nekkuñ di gis seen boppa si independent bi wala Gambian si bari nekkuñ di gis seen boppa si biir réew mi ñu bari ñu ngay joytu ne employment lifin bi unemployment rate baa ngi high youth si ñu ngi toog si biti ñu ne amuñ liggéey high price of commodities yi bagage yaa ngi cher si biir marché bi Gambian si ñu ngi jooy loolu di laajte His Excellency President Adama Barrow pour mu def kéemtalaay kàttanam lu mu xam ne dina ko mun pour wàññi lii nii yëpp fii si biir Gambia nga gis ñëpp nekk si jàmm ndik independent soo ko déggee dañ moomal suñ boppa kon yeneen yi waluñ koy toog di ko di xaar nit yi si biti ñu jox ñu ko ñun suñ boppa ñoo ko war a utilal suñ boppa ñu defaral ko fii nga gis Gambian si mun a kontaan kon ñu bàyyi Mr Cham rek moom moo xam ne veteran journalist la fii si biir Gambia te Cham nekk na koo xam ne xam na history su ñëwee si wàllum Gambia dinañ ko bàyyi rek moom tam mu def réflexion am si last year speech bi statement bi def na ko léegi ñu seet this year His Excellency President Adama Barrow lan la ñu amal ak moom nu mu gisee speech yi His Excellency President Adama Barrow.
Cham, so what did you understand from his statement? This year he spoke about collective responsibility to preserve our, of course, resources. This is something that the president emphasized a lot. But he talked about agriculture, he talked about tourism, and also the energy sector, and also, of course, the national dialogue. And his baby, that is the infrastructure development in the country. What did you understand from his speech?
Thank you. Well, I think the president spoke well in view of the fact that on a day like this is how he's expected to speak, to inspire the nation even more towards nation building, nationalism, and patriotism. Okay, I picked some points. I know, of course, some of the critics he's taken for his government and himself, what they have done in those fronts that are debatable. He still believes his government is doing their utmost in addressing the issues. Or like you said, of course, there are a lot of people who believe that much should be done and much has not been achieved as has been hoped. Yeah, we leave it like that. But the new things he talked about, the initiative taken by government to call for a national dialogue, he talked about that. I think that is commendable.
Yeah.
And what I like most is that the organizers pick up the thematic area of resource management, because I believe much of the criticisms directed towards his government, the government of the Gambia, is the lack of proper management of the resources. People will say corruption outright. So these are the major criticisms against him. So for the government to come and put that up as a thematic topic for discussion is really courageous, because one would have thought that is an unpalatable area that they wouldn't normally have liked to discuss publicly. But for the government to pick it and put it in the national dialogue as a thematic area, allowing everybody to talk about it, that is courageous on their side. And he mentioned it again. So this shows that he is either now listening or is a little bit worried that people are directing their attention too much on the alleged wasting of resources. And we hope that his concern and his frequent reference to it is a reflection of his willingness to address that area. So we hope that since it is fresh in his mind, he will definitely work very hard to address that. He also paid tribute to the people who worked to get our nation as Gambia as it is, and he was grateful that before everything, it started with the creation of a state called the Gambia, and he mentioned Sadauda Jawara, which is very important, because you see, Sadauda was not only a founding father, but he was very, very much important in the very creation of the state of the Gambia that we all are proud of. He met a lot of resistance and pressure for Gambia to be part of Senegal and not to be a sovereign nation state of its own. And there were many prophets of doom who told him and his men at the time, that, look, you people will be better off being part of Senegal than to stand on your own, because one, you would not survive economically, because Senegal is a big power and it belongs to the Francophone zone, which are using one currency, and so therefore you will be very much marginalized economically. You may not even survive. And there were people in Senegal and who had some friends, even in the Gambia. I mean, there were Gambians who bought that idea. But thanks to the steadfastness of Sadauda and the people around him, they said, no way.
He refused the idea.
We have to stand as a country of our own. Now, many people criticized Sadauda and others that their refusal of that suggestion is that they want to be leaders of their own. They don't want to be subject to any other person or any other power. Because that was a common criticism that was even peddled to people who initially resisted an African Union. Dr. Nkrumah of Ghana, the late Dr. Nkrumah, had wanted an immediate African Union government at the time of independence. But those nations who did not warm up to that idea, the common criticism against them was, oh no, you see the problem.
They were hungry for power.
They were hungry for power. They wanted their own states. So Sadauda and others were criticized for that. But he was steadfast and said, look, if we are going to stand, we would be able to surmount the economic pressures from our neighbors, because we are going to create the supermarket of Africa. So, because even if you look at it now, if you have money in your pocket and you want to buy your needs, you must go to the supermarket. All right?
Yeah, that's right.
So if you take the money to the supermarket, the supermarket will survive.
Survive, yes.
So Sadauda tried to liberalize, the trade and encourage the interstate trade, between Gambia, Senegal, and other countries, and make the Gambia's rates in terms of taxes and rates very cheap, so that you can now buy from Banjul and claim that you are selling it in Senegal or Guinea, and then you will not pay any duties. But most of the time, when these traders buy these goods on the pretext that they are sending it to Senegal to sell it there, and the government will not ask them any duty, they don't actually go to Senegal. They sell it in the streets in Banjul or in Serekunda or in Brufut. So because they didn't pay tax, they don't mind to sell it at whatever price. Then things become cheaper. So Gambians can obtain things very cheap, and the Senegalese and others will come here and say things are cheaper in Gambia.
Yeah, that's right.
That is true. Sadauda's liberalization of things. Things are cheaper in
So he was a very crucial figure in the process.
He kind of said, okay, I will make it a supermarket. He wanted also to develop the country to the level of Singapore. That's why he used to call it the Singapore of Africa. He did not succeed in that. Many people blame corruption, and Sadauda blamed the lack of resources to be able to turn it. But many people blame, corruption and stuff like that. What he meant by Singapore was that this nation state of Singapore, very small, but it is very economically viable due to.
I thought this Singapore thing started with Jammeh.
No, it was Sadauda.
It was Sadauda
Jawara.
All right.
So he paid tribute. Barrow paid tribute to Sadauda, and he appreciated that before everything. It is Sadauda who created the nation state, and
definitely,
and to his memory, we all owe a great honor for allowing the Gambia to stand on its own. That's now we are talking about Gambia because of him and his people. And yes, he also talked about what the areas you talk about.
He talked about tourism. He talked about energy, and also agriculture.
Indeed. Well, those are areas I have talked to you that. No matter strong his argument is, there are always people who believe, and professionals, people whose views are respected in the politics, in the economics, in the sciences, who still believe that government policy towards attaining those areas leaves far much to desire, and that his government should double up in addressing those things. So no surprise there that he will take pride for the strides they have done. Yeah, much appreciated, but people still think that the developments in those areas should be on a more fast pace than is actually the case right now. But this is how he should speak. He should speak as a statesman. He should speak to inspire people to be one, inspire people to know that, above all, it is the nation that is important. And everyone should contribute his or her quota, like we are doing here, talking about issues, giving views that are different from the president's views, giving views that are different from his government, giving alternative views. That's how it should be, because that will put his. And in fact, recently he said he prefers genuine criticism. He said he prefers genuine criticism.
Yes, he said you can criticize, but yeah,
he like that. So, and those are the things we are doing. What other people think of the way things have been run, what other people think that could have been achieved but are not achieved, what are the constraints, and this would be our everyday work. So I see by and large those statements by the president showed that there is a willingness on his part to listen and implement. National dialogue you talk about, like I said, is good.
And we are also expecting challenges, but his government will always step up to help.
Well, yes, he said, of course, he knows that there are a lot of problems, but then he said his government will take them up. Like I said, energy, there's a lot of things that are still not in reality, that are not in existence in terms of access to energy. Despite all the steps that the government is taking, we know that our energy depend on things that are not sustainable. This car power shifting is taking a lot of money from us. The Senegal arrangement with Senelec is taking a lot of money from us, and they are not durable. They are not sustainable, because anything can happen, and then we'll go without electricity. Anything can happen. So that is why it is definitely more important for us to find ways of producing energy by ourselves. So as long as we depending on that, it will be very difficult for anybody to argue that much progress has been made on that front. Agriculture, yeah, okay, we still have the problems. I have said that agriculture may not even be a problem for government. Many government will deal with that, simply because, you see, agriculture is not only about machines and tools, but it is about the people. Are there people who are going to farms? There isn't many. When people are taught on agriculture, those people go on to teach others, or to occupy offices, or to go to international bodies to try to teach people. So who will be on the land?
That's another challenge.
There's nobody there. But then, of course, the government has a role there. That is to make it attractive. If it is attractive,
at least
financially attractive, yes, honestly, it will attract youth
to stay.
For example, today, if the they said the metric ton at the depots is $38,000. $38,000 a ton. You know what's a ton?
Yeah,
a ton is 20.
These big ones.
Yeah,
bags.
20 of them. They call it 5 kilo.
Yeah.
In
Gambia
French
they call it 50, right? In Mandinka.
Yeah, in French, the Mandinka use the French, and even the Wolof.
Yeah.
50, that is rather 5 kilo. 5 kilo means 100 kilo of ground. That is the long one.
Yeah.
20 of it makes a ton.
Ton, yeah.
That is
38,000. Yeah.
Now, imagine if the 20 of that is 50,000. If a ton was going for 50 or even 55 to 60,000, how many people will be inspired to go to
go
farm?
into farming? Yeah, that is right.
That is it.
That is.
But they find out that if I sit in the provinces cultivating groundnuts for 6 months or 4 months, at the end of the day, I go to the depot and given only 38,000.
Seems like the president is leaving. But is there anything that you think the president should have mentioned in his speech and he didn't?
Well, there could be quite a few, but I think he has covered, because that is the tradition, even on the Jawara's time.
I think irregular migration has been actually a subject of discussion in the country, but it's not mentioned.
I think
do you think it should have been?
It is in the national dialogue too.
In the national dialogue.
Yeah, so he mentioned the national dialogue. One could assume that covered that government's attention is still there. Okay. It's in the national dialogue. But this is the typical, speech, even Jawara's time. And the message mostly is directed to the youths, the young ones. That's why boys and girls are always the most important thing. And like I said, because the whole idea is to inspire them to nationhood. So that when they come tomorrow, they know that, okay, this is how it came about. This is how it should be. Because it's always, it's the nature of human life is to prepare for tomorrow. It's all what we are doing here and we are getting here. For us, it's just a little. What we are doing is for people who are coming after. And so is nation building. So, like I said, his speech is in order because that is how his job is to inspire everybody to become one on such a day like this. And importantly, he talked about his own life. He wanted to, to finish his
And to be called former
mandate.
president.
He did not say when, of course.
Yeah.
But then he wanted to finish his
He's not
mandate
mentioning that
and
for
come
now.
back and become member of society as a former president. That is commendable because it shows that no matter what happened, he probably will not choose the ignoble ways of ending his term like Yahya Jammeh and unfortunately Macky Sall, creating a lot of confusion and muddying the waters and staining your legacy. So in saying that he wants to come back as a former president in peace, one could think that he is contemplating of leaving gracefully. Of course, we don't know when. But then we can expect that he is not the one who is going to, to be forced to leave or perhaps to create confusion or trying to destroy him. He's very much aware of his legacy. He always said he wants a legacy that he wants to be proud of. And we know, of course, that means leaving the throne peacefully without having to be pushed and pulled, unfortunately, like his friend across the border, Macky Sall, or Yahya Jammeh, whom he succeeded. So that's very encouraging. What he said is very encouraging.
All right. Thank you so much. It seems like it's all over the Makati Square. The president just left. Akamda Ramatlai. And we have two flash here and we are not speaking Fulani.
That's so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate.
I might be counted. My origins
so
are
you
very
see we
close
have
to
three
Fulas.
flash in the studio.
Misiki very popular. Kono sumi hali angale rek.
It's national, it's a national.
Kono wani the only use of angale.
Exactly.
So hali angale in before.
That is right. Ramtrai, it seems Abi Bandele at the Makati Square saying President animole nyo kontone afintitale amurta State House ala speech jile sa kamta be bantale be sarla munele
abaraka bake buba fo kontano katun ko nyimullo nete mi yalo ne ko ka mabe akatu mo jama mo Gambia dingolti bi imantara Gambia kono jang ibe Gambia bantalale bari antolna ala tentu bake ayantara jang mbe ala tentu la bake annum fanan mbe Cairo duwala Gambia banko kan katun ko mobe yen lon walla Cairo nin tenko woto nyimu kulete mi yalo ne ko akumayata bake amba fola president no nala man sakunda fanaye ya kata bake kaje ko fondinkel be fango jalano Gambia kono nyamin akatun ay ka fa nyamin a fondinkel lamo sama alfalte wotabe kumaya la bake pour ni wol fanaye fango je Gambia banko kan kaje ko ikane mira kafinte because niaje Jamal kafinte kata bantala banko kan pour ka nyinin doke Jamal ka fale man tara kontane banko beta ka nyamin woto man tara ke fanje Gambia kono comme Gambia dingol woto be president no mba tentula mba jayila afindita nyamin ala speech comme lamin chama ya fa nyamin ala kutale a nyanda ka ketenne kaje ko kantol dinningol fanan kan inspire ka tandi molla ko nyim banko ma tallete ala muta ka comme asamuta bambanke kaje ko atol fanan minul bentol fanan noma ni nata i sentol fanan sinnol noma comme bokay jerengen jef li len len amalon comme nun len ko wone ci screen si kër fatula comme at bu nek ni len ko day defare di len isila live independence coverage fofu non sama Makati Square Banjul suñ technical team bi fofu la nek ñun ñu ngi ni fi suñ bir studio bi tranquille bourse bi turntable di len jaajeufal yeen mu tok ci sen kër yi duñu sétane sa yuñ atale suñ sa yo len tale sen connection yi ngeen follow Kër Fatou di gërëm president moma government am bi di len wax ne ñu gorgorlu gis ne youth ci Gambia ni dañoo gis sen boppa fii ni ci biir Gambia jarul ñuy dem di jël risque joni bi ni di dem ci backway bi wala num fa demee ñoom bugga nañ gis sen boppa ci biir réew mi fii ni muy Gambia ndik Gambia ñun ñoko moom comme président bi speecham bi num ko wone bugga na ñun ñem ñu jàppaloo ñu nekk benn fii ni ci Gambia kon maa ngi tàggatoo di leen wax ne jërëjëf aman la woon sen doom sen soppe Ramatulaye Jawo toogaloon leen fii ak suma ñaari boosi.
Thank you so much Ramatulaye Jawo. So tranquil is Bursubi or
Tranquil is in Bursubi.
Tranquil is
not in Bursubi.
Tranquil is part of Bruford.
It's part of
Bruford Tranquil.
I know you are going back to
No, it's Bruford. I know the history.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Not that history that you're talking about.
I know Tranquil.
Yeah, it's now small, not Bruford. Thank you so much. Of course, I'm Nine Sotale. Na technician of Mimbe Banjul nga tentu kaje ba Charles Elvis Ngom kabrin kununga mansi pour ka kolbe tande molla mi alon ko wala be kering atele bije pour ka nying footage be dialla albe mil je kanum banjul nga tenduka je bake atenen mo kerfaado la o vivano bije ba sirfo fanambe banjul of course am sirfo sedi kan ngi be tenduke je bake milbe officer to jang sirele muta masingoto caméral to milbi je wala Mustafa Kamarati aning Mami Ngom ngi tentuke jay bake of course aning na boss fa Touré mi alon ko atele be nyim programme o coordinate kam bi nga fanan tentuka jay bake nga cham ning Ramatulay tentuke jay bake kam makoy pour que kol natale mi alon ko al solata wala lon nanu be duwala mo be duwala bankoy nga sanji tandulu aning kononto lesoto be duwala jandembe sanji tan woro soto la nga falindir jama balso ni nata development la anin ko la soniato nga duwa fana mol be mi alon ko bi muy la badel ti dol bi jele la badde ne Gambia ta bentel mil boko of course kerfatu fa wala sirfo baye sonko ambe duwala ala wulurun jura rola ala masa jura sanji jama bala anin kairo la anin harje frim bala mbe murana lenne anin kerfatu programme dolla kabo bi dimaso fangola akara fo sama anin na programme ol mi alon ko wolle be karla kana de buba gaji ko ba falale ala barka.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, Takaful Fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.